Hello, and welcome back to the Ananya CDC podcast. I'm Jewel. Today marks the final installment of our four-part series exploring the evolution of autism therapies. We have journeyed from the rigid confines of behaviorism through the transformative cognitive revolution and into the era of neurodiversity and relationship based care. We have seen how each stage built upon the previous learning from both successes and mistakes. In this episode, we focus on the period from the 2010s to the present, a time when science and empathy have, in many ways, found common ground. But it's also a time of ongoing challenges and continued evolution. As we look back on this journey, we also celebrate the progress made and set our sights on a new conversation starting next week. This is our final chapter in this series, a reflective, heartful farewell to one phase of exploration and a promise for new horizons ahead.
By 2010s, the field had truly embraced the lessons of the past. The limitations of purely behavioral or even solely cognitive approaches were clear. The rise of neurodiversity and the emphasis on relationship based care had fundamentally shifted the landscape. The focus now was on integration, blending the structured, measurable techniques of earlier interventions with the warmth, flexibility, and individualized approach of relationship based models. It wasn't about choosing one over the other, it was about finding the right balance for each individual.
One of the most significant developments during this period was the refinement of models like the early start Denver model. While initially designed for very young children, ESDM evolved into a more comprehensive approach, applicable across a wider age range. It demonstrated that you could combine systematic, data driven techniques with genuine human connection and play based learning. It wasn't just about completing drills, it was about creating joyful, engaging experiences that fostered development across multiple domains: social, emotional, cognitive, and communicative.
There is also the incorporation of acceptance and commitment therapy into autism therapy. This involves accepting one's feelings and thoughts without judgment.
Exactly. And importantly, progress wasn't just measured by standardized tests anymore. Success was also seen in the development of trust, in the child's increased ability to regulate their emotions, in their genuine engagement with others, and in their overall well being. It was much more holistic view of what it means to thrive.
Instead of focusing on specific named clinicians, let's talk about the broader shift in practice. We saw many therapists who had been trained in traditional methods undergoing a profound transformation. They were learning to listen more deeply, to observe more carefully, and to adapt their approaches to the unique needs and preferences of each child. It was a move away from a one size fits all mentality to a truly individualized approach.
And behind this shift were the voices of autistic individuals themselves. Many adults who had experienced earlier forms of therapy, even some of the cognitive based approaches, spoke out about the importance of feeling understood, accepted, and respected. Their experiences highlighted the need for therapies that not only address specific skills, but also nurtured their sense of self and their overall well being. We heard voices like Sarah's, who said, I went through years of therapy, then I focused on making me look normal. I learned to make eye contact, to suppress my stimming, to mimic social behaviors. But it was exhausting, and it felt like I was constantly performing. It wasn't until I found a therapist who truly listened to me, who valued my perspective, that I started to feel like I could be myself.
And voices like Varun's, who shared, for me, the most helpful therapies have been the ones that focused on helping me understand myself, my sensory sensitivities, my communication style. It wasn't about changing who I am, but about giving me the tools to navigate a world that isn't always designed for neurodiverse minds. These voices and countless others became a powerful force for change. They understood the idea that therapy should be a collaborative process, a partnership between the therapist and the individual, with the individual's goals and preferences at the center.
Alongside these clinical shifts, research continued to advance. Neuroimaging techniques, for example, started to provide a window into how different therapies affected brain activity and connectivity. This research provided further evidence for the effectiveness of integrated approaches, showing interventions that combined structure with emotional support could lead to positive changes in brain function.
And technology played an increasingly important role. We saw the development of new digital platforms and interactive tools that could be used to personalize interventions, to provide real time feedback, and to create engaging learning experiences. Imagine apps that help with emotional regulation, virtual reality environments that simulate social situations, or wearable sensors that track physiological responses and provide insights into sensory sensitivities. These technologies, when used thoughtfully, have the potential to enhance but not replace the human connection. That's at the heart of effective therapy.
There's also the incorporation of AI. Artificial intelligence is being used to analyze vast amount of data to help identify patterns and personalize interventions. The impact of integrated approaches and the neurodiversity movement extended beyond the clinic. We saw significant changes in policy and advocacy. Autistic self advocates played a crucial role in shaping public discourse, challenging outdated and harmful stereotypes, and advocating for greater inclusion and acceptance.
Laws and policies began to reflect a greater understanding of autism and the importance of supporting neurodiversity. These are a growing emphasis on inclusive education, on providing access to appropriate services and supports, and on protecting the rights of autistic individuals. But it's important to acknowledge that these changes haven't been uniform or complete. These are still significant disparities in access to quality care.
Absolutely. Access to integrated evidence based therapies is not equally distributed. Factors like socioeconomic status, geographic location, race, and ethnicity can create significant barriers. Many families struggle to find qualified therapists to navigate complex insurance systems or to afford the cost of care. This is a major challenge that the field continues to grapple with.
It's also important to acknowledge the ongoing learning process within the field. Many therapists and researchers have had to confront their own biases and assumptions and to reevaluate their practices and to embrace new ways of thinking. This hasn't always been easy. It requires humility and a willingness to learn from mistakes and a commitment to continue improvement.
And while we celebrate the progress that's been made, we also need to acknowledge that there's still much work to be done. There are ongoing debates about the best approaches to therapy, about the role of intervention, and about how to balance the need for support with the respect for individual autonomy. These are complex ethical and practical questions that require ongoing dialogue and critical reflection.
Looking ahead, the future of autism therapy is likely to be even more personalized, more integrated, and more informed by the lived experiences of autistic individuals. We'll likely see further advances in technology in our understanding of the neurobiology of autism and in our ability to tailor interventions to meet the specific needs of each person.
Imagine a future where wearable sensors provide real time feedback on a child's emotional state, allowing therapists to adjust their approach on the fly, or where virtual reality environments are used to create safe and controlled spaces for practicing social skills, or where genetic research leads to a deeper understanding of different subtypes of autism, allowing for even more targeted interventions. The possibilities are exciting, but it's crucial that these advancements are guided by ethical principles and by a commitment to empowering autistic individuals.
And beyond technology, the human element will always be paramount. The relationship between the therapist and the individual, the trust and understanding that develops between them will remain at the heart of effective therapy. The future of autism care is about creating a world where autistic individuals are not just supported but celebrated for their unique strengths and perspectives.
As we bring this four-part series to a close, we are left with a profound sense of the journey we have taken together. From the early days of behaviorism, with its focus on external control, to the present era of integrated, compassionate care, we have seen a remarkable evolution. It's a story of scientific progress, of ethical reflection, and of the unwavering commitment of countless individuals, researchers, clinicians, families, and most importantly, autistic individuals themselves, all working to create a better future.
This series has been an exploration of not just the science of autism therapy, but also the humanity behind it. We have learned that progress isn't always linear, that mistakes are inevitable, and that the most valuable lessons often come from listening to those with lived experience. The integrated approaches we see today are a testament to our ability to learn, to adapt, and to strive for a more inclusive and compassionate world.
As we conclude this series, let us carry forward the lessons we have learned. Let us celebrate the progress that's been made while acknowledging the challenges that remain. Let us continue to listen to autistic voices, to advocate for equitable access to care, and to strive for a future where every individual is valued and empowered. Today, we mark not just an end but a transformation, a final chapter in this series that sets the stage for new conversations ahead.
Thank you for joining us on this in depth journey through the evolution of autism therapies. This four-part series has been a labor of love, a tribute to the resilience of the human spirit and the capacity for change. While this chapter concludes our exploration of past and present methods, it also opens the doors to new topics and fresh insights. We hope you continue with us as we dive into new ideas, new challenges, and new opportunities for understanding and growth.
This is the Ananya CDC podcast where every breakthrough tells a story. Every story illuminates a journey, and every journey enriches our shared humanity. Until our next conversation, keep reflecting, keep questioning, and above all, keep embracing the blend of science and compassion that defines our approach to a better future. Thank you for being part of this series, and we look forward to exploring new horizons with you next week.